Hey folks, welcome to a very special episode of Machinery Pete TV. Now, Sullivan Auctioneers, longtime partners of our TV show here, and I'm sure great friends, many of you have been out there and seen their sales over the years. And on this special episode, we're going to share a very powerful family story with the Sullivans. It's going to take us from their facility in Hamilton, Illinois, all the way to the world-renowned Mayo Clinic here in Rochester, Minnesota, and then we're going to go to the bone marrow registry worldwide. Stay tuned for all that and more on a very special episode of Machinery Pete TV.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. A&I Products is a lower cost, quality replacement part solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit aiproducts.com. For farmers working to lift, change, and repair tires on their home farms, check out the Tire Grabber at thetiregrabber.com. Dan Sullivan, the head of Sullivan Auctioneers, the magic man behind the mic we've enjoyed listening to for many years. Now, Dan is also a family man and a father, and has a very special story to tell with us now that goes way beyond tractors and farm machinery.
Hi folks, this is Dan Sullivan. This is not the typical video you used to see me making. Usually if we've sold a tractor or combine for a new record and we send it to Machinery Pete. Or we just sold a farm for $16,000 an acre. This is much more important. This video is about saving somebody's life. Recently, the fall of 2020, in August, my son Michael started feeling sick, had a temperature, was in and out of the hospital, kind of locally, for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And then at the end of September, he got really sick and got to the place where he couldn't hardly go. Had his blood checked and found out his hemoglobin was 5.1. It's supposed to be 15. They did a biopsy, told us a couple days later they think he has acute lymphoblast leukemia. And did the world change then? So we immediately got an appointment at Mayo Clinic in Rochester for Monday, September 28th. We went up there, met with the doctor that afternoon, came in on the 9th floor, walked in, introduced himself, and looked at the paperwork that Michael had and said, yep, you have acute lymphoblastic leukemia and you're very sick, and we are going to admit you to the hospital this afternoon, start you on a really strong regimen of chemo, and you're going to be up here probably till the spring of the year. And you could just, I could let the air out of us. And Michael said, can you save my life? And he said, if we didn't think we could, we wouldn't put you through what we're going to put you through, Michael. And so we said, well, we're ready. We'll buckle down, we're ready to go. He said, you are going to need a transplant. You're going to need a donor for a bone marrow transplant. He asked about the siblings. And Michael told him, I have 2 sisters, Paige and Gracie, and they're both close, they're both healthy, and they would for sure be a donor. He said, my wife and I are expecting our 3rd child next week. I've done some research on stem cell, and we're going to have a baby, our 3rd baby next week. And the doctor was very polite, but he said, no, that won't. Not for this one. He said, we're going to need an individual, somebody for a donor. And we're going to test your 2 sisters. If they're not a match, don't be too concerned. We'll find somebody in the worldwide registry. And it'll more than likely be a foreign donor, because we asked why. And they said, well, in the United States, it's not really mandatory. It's voluntary to be a donor. Some of those countries, it's mandatory. So they told us, they did test Paige and Gracie, my 2 daughters. They told us about Halloween time. They came in one Sunday morning and said, oh, by the way, your sisters, Michael, are not a match. We're like, oh, it was a little bit of a down time when they told us that. They reiterated, don't be too concerned. We told you it was probably about a 25% chance we'd use your sisters. We like to use a sibling, but now we're going to reach out to the worldwide registry and we will find a donor. Well, fast forward to 30 days, another regimen, another round of chemo. They came in about Thanksgiving time and said, we cannot find a match. And wow, that's just like letting the air out of you.
Coming up, we'll hear the next chapter of Michael's story and how the Sullivans responded to an urgent need. As the Sullivan family searched for answers to Michael's illness, renewed hope was discovered and a new mission was born. Here's Dan Sullivan to pick up the story.
We said, okay, doctor, now what are we going to do? And he said, we're going to go back to your two daughters, Dan and Michael, your two sisters, and we will have to use one of those. We do not have an option. We'll use one of them, whoever's the closest. After some more intense testing, they decided to use Gracie, the youngest one. So they did a very simple process as far as collecting her. She had a 4-day back-to-back days of a shot. It made your bone marrow just spew out into your blood. On the 5th day, they collected her. And it was such an easy process. She was so excited to save a life. She was actually in the hospital getting collected on Christmas Day. And she said it's the best Christmas gift she could ever give. They took the blood and they did their miracle that they do with it and saved all the cells. And on February 12th, Michael had his bone marrow transplant. And it was there another 100 days post-transplant, got home in the spring of the year, kind of late spring, and is doing very well now. And what the purpose of this video is, in this event, the tractor behind me, the 4020 we're going to sell, with 100% of the proceeds going to Mayo Clinic for leukemia research. And like Michael said, he said, Dad, now it's about somebody else, you know, saving somebody's life. Welcome to this 2021 fundraiser for Mayo Clinic for leukemia research. The crowd started rolling in. The event started at 5, and at 3 o'clock they were rolling in, and it was just a great event for their family atmosphere. Kids were playing, riding pedal tractors, served 1,000 ribeyes for the beef producers. Even had Bobby Reed fly in, parachute in. It was a really nice event. The crowd enjoyed it. Speakers, Machinery Pete, gave a really nice touching speech. And John Kinsbar, good friends at Kinsey Manufacturing, was a guest speaker as well. And it just, like I said, it was a family atmosphere all the way through.
Matt Sullivan, Sullivan Auctioneers. Thanks for coming out tonight for this great event for a great cause. We're really excited. We have a big crowd, and good stakes, and a great atmosphere. Let's see how much money we can raise for a great cause this evening.
And I guess with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's live auction time, and I'm going to sell a 4020 tractor. William and Jim Huff, John Probasco, Stan, everybody. Anybody wants to take a bid? Kyle Ferguson, how are you, buddy? Machinery Pete has the camera rolling. Hands in the air. I'm going to what do you have bid up on the internet? 25, 30,000. I'm going to $30,000 to get 40. I'm going to do 50,000, 50, 60,000. I'm going to do now.
We had a live auction at this event, and the main fundraiser was selling a John Deere 4020 tractor. The first time it sold for $250,000. The crowd was literally in shock. A group of farmers and investors and even our competitors in the auction business donated to this event for this tractor. It was donated back, and it was sold the second time. Kyle Ferguson was the auctioneer that time, and it sold for $100,000. And Bruce and Joni Spear bought it. Got donated back for the third time. And the third go around, John and Marcia Kinzenbaugh, Kinsey Manufacturing, everybody knows JK, we call him JK. He bought it back the third time for $56,000. So the 4020 tractor alone raised $406,000. And everything, by the time the night was over, we ended up raising nearly $500,000 for this event to Mayo Clinic. 100% of the proceeds went directly to Mayo Clinic for leukemia research.
You know, when we first started this event, we thought we would maybe auction off a gator, $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 we might raise, and then we decided to add a 4020, and we thought, well, maybe we'll get 25 or 30,000. We knew from the very beginning when we put it online and mentioned of having it, we knew there was going to be a nice crowd, but we never dreamed it would be this big a crowd and that much support, and to sell the tractor for what we sold it for. And it's just everybody comes together. That's what's so great about rural America and working with some of the greatest people in the world, the American farmer, the American rancher. It's just great. It's unbelievable.
Mayo Clinic, right in my backyard in Rochester, Minnesota. It's world-renowned for breakthrough treatments across a broad spectrum of disease, but its innovative approach to the treatment of lymphomas and leukemia is especially encouraging. I talked to Dr. Stephen Ansell about the treatments that brought such hope to the Sullivan family.
I think one of the most amazing stories is really how things have changed for leukemia and for leukemia treatments in the last 10 years. For a long time, standard chemotherapy was the most typical way and probably the only way in which we could treat patients with leukemia. We really just used very high-dose chemotherapy to beat down the cancer, beat down the bone marrow, and hope that good cells would come back. Over time, we've got far better and have a lot of new treatments that are available, many of them what we call immunotherapy approaches. So these are ways in which we are taking the immune system and bringing it into close proximity with leukemia cells to kill the leukemia cell in a more effective fashion. There are also ways in which antibodies, which are proteins, can stick to the cancer cell and deliver a toxin in a very focused way. That's also a new therapy that's available. Furthermore, CAR T cells, or chimeric antigen receptor T cells, we take the patient's T cell, we engineer it so that there's actually a specific little docking protein that sticks the activated immune cell to the tumor cell. That again has been very effective. And finally, in the world of stem cell transplantation or bone marrow transplantation, we've done that for a number of years, but in recent times, new ways of identifying donors have been developed, and those have also been highly successful and are improving the outcome of patients.
Identifying bone marrow donors is the business of Be the Match, the massive database operated by the National Marrow Donor Program. For thousands of people diagnosed every year with life-threatening blood cancers, Be the Match has connected donors to patients.
That is a wonderful way in which people can contribute and help patients that have blood-related cancers, particularly leukemias. One of the necessary treatments, if our initial standard treatment is ineffective, that we have to consider is a stem cell transplant. And in essence, what happens is we are replacing the patient's immune system with a matching immune system from somebody else. Now that can be very effective if you have a family member who can match you, but that only happens typically in a subset of patients. So being able to get an unrelated donor who can match you is very helpful. So when people are willing to be part of being the match, they would have their blood tested to see exactly what their profile looks like, and then that can match up with a needy patient right around the world. Patients in our practice benefit from others elsewhere, and we then actually reciprocate by having our patients in this region be able to help others globally as well. This is something that's beneficial across the board, beneficial for the recipient, the patient, but also beneficial because as the donor, you're doing something very helpful that will be life-changing for somebody else. I think for us, our goal is to see every single patient have the best outcome possible. And we're not resting until every single patient with leukemia and other diseases can be cured by the treatment we have. We have a ways to go, but that really is a focus that we're working on to be able to achieve that. So working at understanding the biology, the genetics, and the reason why people get a leukemia, that's the starting point. Then working on understanding how we can change the immune system to improve people's outcome is a key focus. And furthermore, to actually develop new and novel therapies that are more beneficial and result in a better outcome for leukemia patients. That's really where we want to go.
Dr. Ansell says the support shown by Sullivan auctioneers, the bidders, and the farm community at large is a big part of the success story.
Yeah, so that is just absolutely wonderful. So exciting to see the community and the family kind of coming together to be able to do this wonderful thing. And the reason that it's really phenomenal is those dollars go directly then to doing the research that enables us to provide better therapies for the next patient coming along. As I said earlier, we're not resting until every single patient can be cured with treatment, and this kind of contribution to being able to do that research pushes the envelope and gets us there.
Up next, a look at what you can do to be a part of the solution. Building a useful database such as Be the Match is a numbers game, but behind the statistics are personal stories, like that of Mayo Clinic's Terry Malloy.
I've had the pleasure, the honor to be a bone marrow donor actually 2 times. The first was a young girl who was about the same age as my daughter at the time of the donation. She was 10 years old. And the second time for a woman in her 30s who had a very rare blood disease and really needed my bone marrow to get better. I remember I was at the Minnesota State Fair and I saw, a phone call come through and, they said, hey, we're from Be the Match and you are actually a perfect match on all of the alleles for this young girl. And I just, I just said yes. There was not even any hesitation, but a little backstory on me, my mother had multiple myeloma, so a bone cancer that at that time, really couldn't be cured and that's what took her life. And so especially important to me was this chance to help someone else, because I knew what the other side of that equation looks like. I have a daughter who is about the same age as that recipient, at that time. So sometimes I do still look at my daughter and think, I wonder how that other person is, what she's doing, did she go to college? Does she have a family of her own now?
Malloy says the decision to participate in the registry was a matter of ability.
I come from humble beginnings. I've not been the kind of person who had, could donate thousands of dollars to a charity. And I appreciate people that can do that because that's really important. But for me, this was something I could do. That was the thing that no one else could do. And it just gives me chills, to think of that. It's easy to get signed up to be a donor. It's a simple cheek swab, and think about what the impact that it can have on not only another person, but everyone else that's involved in their life, their parents, their spouse, their own children. You're giving someone life. You're giving them a new chance at life to be, everything that they always wanted to be, and they couldn't do it without you. Get signed up with Be the Match, and you might save someone's life.
So we just want everybody to get into the registry. It is so simple. beamatch.org, and it's just a swab, and to think that you possibly, if you were lucky enough to get a phone call, that you could save someone's life. So, not everybody has a Gracie, and we're very fortunate to have Grace as a donor. We don't want to think what would happen if we didn't. So just please, please, please get into the registry. And I'm very fortunate, or we're very fortunate as a family to be, I'm one of 11 children, 4 sisters and 6 brothers. My nephews Luke and Matt help my brother Joe, John, Jim, Bill run the business, but not everybody has the support that we've had with our entire family and helping out, from my brother Jim taking care of Michael's cattle, his boy Grant feeding the cattle. Every time Jim had an opportunity to take the kids with him to get their minds off of things, he did. Cody Holtz took and cabbed out the cattle for Michael, so the list goes on and on. But again, thanks for everybody's prayers and support, and get into the registry, beamatch.org, and thank you.
Well, folks, thanks for watching this very special episode of Machinery Pete TV. On behalf of my family and our Machinery Pete TV family, and I'm sure all of you, we wish the best to Michael Sullivan and his family and all the Sullivan family, and we thank them for sharing this very special story. And I encourage you to go to bethematch.org to get registered for the bone marrow registry there. You could change a life. Thanks again for watching this special episode of Machinery Pete TV. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. A&I Products is a lower cost, quality replacement part solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit aiproducts.com. For farmers working to lift, change, and repair tires on their home farms, check out the Tire Grabber at thetiregrabber.com.